Hello, and welcome to another meditation on the Holy Gospel. It is always a great joy to have your company, you who join me from so many places, forming this network of prayer through the word of Jesus in the Holy Gospel. Thank you so much for your comments, for liking, and for sharing in your groups. A big thank you to those who are already subscribed to our channel. If you are not yet subscribed, don't wait. Subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. Today, I want to share with you a message that has the power to transform lives. Have you ever stopped to think about how we often encounter challenges even when we are doing good? This also happened to Jesus. In today's meditation from the Gospel of Mark, Jesus teaches us a powerful lesson about love and courage. Together, we will reflect on how this message can inspire us to live with more hope and purpose. Proclamation of the Gospel of Jesus Christ, according to Mark. Glory to you, Lord. At that time, Jesus entered the synagogue again. There was a man there with a withered hand. They were watching him closely to see if he would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. Jesus said to the man with the withered hand, "Stand up and come here to the middle." Then he asked them, "Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath or to do evil, to save a life or to destroy it?" But they remained silent. Jesus looked around at them with anger and sadness because of their hardness of heart and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. As soon as they went out, the Pharisees began to conspire with the Herodians on how they might kill Jesus. Jesus had entered the synagogue on a Sabbath day. There was a man with a withered hand, and the Pharisees were watching Jesus, waiting for a reason to accuse him. Jesus, with his infinite compassion, asked, "Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath or to do evil, to save a life or to let it die?" This question transcends time and reaches us today. How often do we find ourselves in situations where we have the opportunity to do good, but are paralyzed by fear or the opinions of others? Jesus shows us that love must be above any other law. Have you ever faced moments where your good deeds were misinterpreted or even criticized? In our relationships, at work, and even within our families, we may encounter people who resist the good we try to do. Jesus teaches us to persevere. In Luke 6:27-28, he says, "Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who mistreat you." This is a difficult but profoundly transformative lesson. When we choose love over vengeance, we become reflections of Christ himself. Other biblical examples also show us the importance of not giving up on doing good. Joseph, sold into slavery by his brothers, maintained his faith in God and was used to save his family and all of Egypt, Genesis 50:20. Paul, even while imprisoned, wrote letters of encouragement, as in Philippians 4:13. "I can do all things through him who strengthens me." These examples inspire us to trust that God has a plan, even when we face difficulties. Galatians 6:9 reminds us, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." This promise should guide us, especially when we feel like we are swimming against the current. The Sabbath represented rest, but Jesus shows us that this rest also includes doing good for others. Psalm 23 reminds us that the Lord is our shepherd. He leads us beside quiet waters and restores our soul. Finding rest in God does not mean inactivity, but a balance between working for good and trusting in divine provision. In Hebrews 4:9-11 we read, "There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their works, just as God did from his." This reminds us that rest is a spiritual dimension and should be lived in harmony with our mission to do good. In practical life, doing good can mean small, daily actions, helping a neighbor, offering words of support to a colleague, or simply being present for someone in need. but it can also mean facing great challenges, such as forgiving those who have hurt us. In Matthew 5:44, Jesus challenges us, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Perseverance in doing good requires us to look to Christ's example. He faced rejection, suffering, and even the cross, but never deviated from the path of love. We are also called to follow in his footsteps, remembering that our labor is not in vain. Jesus teaches us that love must always guide us. Even when we face resistance or misunderstanding, we must remember that he faced the same. "Whoever wants to follow me must take up their cross and follow me." Matthew 16:24. You are called to be a light in a world that often prefers darkness. Romans 12:21 says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." May this message renew your hope and strengthen your faith. If you feel that this message resonates with you, leave a like. Your interaction helps us spread this word to more people. Thank you for being here with me today. May this message strengthen your heart and inspire you to live with more love, courage, and hope. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue this spiritual journey. I recommend watching our video on forgiveness and starting over based on Matthew 18:21-22. It will complement everything we have reflected on today. May the peace of Christ be with you and your family. Until next time, amen.